Good evening and welcome to our first of the two semifinal playoff matches with their highway to the Zemus Zone League. I am joined by
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Looking forward to this one.
Indeed, this is going to be a pretty hype match. We've got the remnants of the DMIS group merging with the remnants of the Golbez group. In the top left corner, we have dobbytwostep, newcomer this year. He's qualified with 12 points, has made his way through the two DMIS stage matches. Opposite him in the bottom right corner, we have peasantsomfg, also qualifying with 12 points and getting through that DMIS group. And the top right, we have eizantayama, who is in the captain of Team Golbez and the only captain to advance of these two teams, and was in last year's league, but was eliminated in the top 8, about where he is today. We'll see if he can go further. And finally, in the bottom left corner, we have Invenerable, another 12-point qualifier, also from last year's league, but he was eliminated in the top 6. So we'll see if he can make it to the final match this year. Do you have any people you're rooting for, or any hopes to see, Dusty?
I can't place bets on anyone here because everyone's just at this level. Everyone's going to be so good, and all of these racers are fantastic runners and folks in the community. So honestly, at this point, it's anyone's match here tonight. So it's going to be pretty fantastic, I think.
I agree, and we're starting with Palom, so I think we're going to see some pretty quick starts, some very quick experience, and then we're going to go into blowing everything up. And it looks like we're starting now.
Yeah, starting with Palom is super strong. I'm probably going to see pretty fast clears through here. And we do see Iridia as the second character, so that's a nice little start, as well as a Masamune item. Probably, well, the second you see a Masamune, it means you're not going to see Edge ever in the seed, so we can throw our hopes and dreams away for that right now.
Look, speak for yourself. I always hold out hope for Edge. Just because he's not allowed to be in the first 4 character slots available to us with the 2 starting characters, the character on Hobbs and the character in bottom in because of that stupid CX flag, I still hold out hope that he's going to show up in one of those spots.
Absolutely, yeah. If you do see an Edge early on, if we see a Sand Ruby or something where they can pick it up in a gated spot, that would be a huge help for them here. But even starting with this Palom Iridia is pretty good start. Iridia, of course, pretty rough early with her lower health values, but Palom becomes so strong so fast, gets those level 10, level 2 spells very quickly, basically after one fight, and will carry them through the early game more than likely here.
Yeah, and we see Tella in the end guarded by Water Hag, so not exactly the strongest character, but I don't really mind seeing Tella at the end. That's a good incentive to do ordeals, good value that you know you can get out of it.
Yeah.
Those spells are really helpful on Tella.
Little sad to see Water Hag in that spot for sure. And also we already saw another pretty free boss at the beginning there. It was either Kaipo guards or Baron guards. So we got a couple free bosses already off the table. So I'm holding out hope that we're going to see some real ugly bosses in hard spots here. Not because I want the players to struggle, but because it's better viewing, I think.
No, I want them to suffer. Let's be nice with this team.
I would pay to see that, yeah.
We had a Kanazo hook, and I don't think many people actually had to go and fight him at low levels.
Anyway, yeah, we're seeing a pretty standard early route here. Our riders are going through Baron, getting those good chest density, and then going to Dempsey and getting a couple more items. We are seeing Dobby actually check that spot there at the Octomam, and he sees Kanizo there. That's nice to get up at the table, actually, just like you were saying there, Baka. But seeing that Kanizo can be pretty scary in certain spots.
Boo! Boss is on hook. Go and give them Ogopogo if this is what's going to come down to.
Yeah, I'll take that. I think that's worthy.
We see Invenerable going and looting this, just not looking what he's found so far, deciding he wants to do some extra looting, but he did pick up some exits, so he might go and use a little trick where you can save on top of Mist Village, and because Mist Village is a little interesting, if you walk on top of it while still being on one of the village cells, you don't go and get sent into the village, so it's a good way to check this vanilla mist spot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, eizantayama went and checked Hobbs and found the Ashura summon.
Yeah, very smart of Inven there. He may also do a Kaipo check here to see what items are in that shop. It's really nice value to get another shop check, as well as check that character at Sam Ruby if you really want to, as well as get the item shop or weapon shop here as well. So really good moves here.
Yeah, it looks like they're buying some mute arrows, a dancing dagger, or not a dancing dagger, a great bow, just that they have something. And they do find a mute knife, which is not a bad stat boosting weapon and can probably be of some level of help.
Yeah, for sure. That can come into handy for finding a Jura in some bad spot or bagging assisters, depending on what your team is. Even if you are using it on a Iridia or Paladin, could be pretty useful. We see a couple of our characters going into Antlion now, as well as we see Eisen taking on the Dark Imps here at the Mom Bomb spot.
And getting rewarded with a Rosa, who's a good person to go and use those mute arrows and great bow. But that's
another free boss off the yeah, that's a whole lot of free bosses off the table early.
Yeah, that's maybe we'll see a mandatory moon seed where everything up there is awful and just that's crushed 14. But
I'm holding out hope for Valvalis, Evil Wall, Ogo Pogo. Give him everything you got, Moon, here tonight.
Dusty, you have to be careful saying about those things. I can only get so excited. Though Rose is going to be a pretty solid pickup. She's of all the mages, she's probably the most reliable physical fighter that aim command can even help against Valvalis, as it's going to go and be a guaranteed hit. If you need to get through Valvalis, she can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a very, very strong character and can pretty much be a replacement for a fighter or bruiser in certain situations, as you were saying, with that aim command, or just even zerking her with a good solid bow and arrow set.
Yeah, and meanwhile, speaking of not needing a fighter, Leviathan is in the Antlion spot, and he's weak to lightning. Hallam with his level 1 spells is still going to tear through him pretty quickly, I think. So this is not a bad fight to find here.
Yeah, not too
or
bad.
Maybe not.
Not going to do too much, but I mean, his Ice 2s might one-shot here. He's already... Peasants is about 800 HP into this, so I think he's got one lit one, and he'll be through here.
Yeah, and there's Ice 1 doing 81 damage. That is going to be a one-shot for these characters, so kind of needs to... Ooh, it looks like Peasants is taking a wipe. Oh, no, not quite, not quite.
Very close. Very, very well done there by Peasants.
That was definitely a very close fight, but he's going to be rewarded with something, so we'll see how well he gets through.
He's breathing a sigh of relief right now, if I had to guess. He gets a ribbon. That would have been very helpful during the fight for someone not to die, but at the same time, he's still got through that fine, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I imagine Eisen's going to be in a little bit better shape with both Rosa and having a white mage who can just heal up that little amount of damage you need, and Rydia having just a bit more health and experience after finishing off those Dark Imps.
Yeah, absolutely. Dobby's going to possibly have a hard time here. He is getting to the second big wave, though, and his Rydia's doing a bit of work with the whip that he has equipped, so hopefully he'll get through this here, and he does just fine.
Well, that's always good to avoid those early wipes, because wiping here, you're probably losing a little bit of time. It's not substantial time, but it's still time you don't want to lose to these competitors.
Yeah. Everyone in this level of play can basically will use every bit of efficient time that they can. So if you wipe, you have to do something to make up for that wipe later on.
Yeah, and to answer a question from chat, that the starting item was a Masamune, the Antlion item was a ribbon. So first two key item spots we found have not actually given us any key items.
Yeah, no key items here yet. Be interesting to see where we get sort of funneled through. I'm holding out hope for that, the almighty hook seed here still.
I would be more than happy to see that. Hook seed, Dark Knight Sea Sledge, King Queen Leviathan could be extra fun for these runners, especially with this not incredibly high health team.
Yeah, if we see a DKC at one King Queen Eblon spot or something here, that would be pretty interesting to take on as well.
And we see that Invenerable and Peasants are going picking up their Rosa. Eisen is going in finishing off Leviathan. Using Lit 2, getting a bit extra damage. Might get through this a bit faster, but it's about even so far. Nothing, no terribly big divergences.
No, everyone taking a pretty similar path here, doing pretty well.
The Peasants is having a bit of trouble with these Dark Imps, just seems to be chipping down his characters. And Invenerable is slowly getting through them, but Dobby's through, Eisen is through with the Antlion, so curious to see where runners decide to go next.
Peasants does actually reset there, which makes some sense. I think he was running quite low on MP. He just couldn't get out the damage with what he had left there. Just faster. Likely at that point to say, you know what, we'll just come back and do this later.
Entirely fair. Paladin does only start with 45 MP. He had to burn a bit of MP to go and get through Leviathan, and not necessarily going to have enough. So that is a bit costly. That Rosa can probably do a fair amount of work, and not getting experience on her early is going to hurt a bit, but maybe he'll find something in shops to help speed him along. Meanwhile, dobbytwostep is getting into Kabul. Going to be our first person to check out what's there.
I'm finding much in the way of shops here. Babel just only have heals and the almighty Eagle Eye, so...
When you absolutely, positively have to see what's a little bit further out on the world map.
Sometimes, you just want to sightsee a little bit, and I don't blame people. This game, it's pretty fantastic to look at.
It is, but we do have the airship to go and help us get a better bird's eye view from these things.
True. This is very true. Alright, Dobby now taking on Babel, so we're going to see. Oh, you do see Antlion here. Could be a bit of an annoying fight, but since he does have those, doesn't actually quite have those level 2 spells yet.
That's right. His Paladin didn't survive. He's he's a bit low on the damage department right now.
It's a little rougher here for Dobby. He's doing some decent damage with the Rosa in the middle there, but that's going to be a bit of a longer fight for him than I'd say Eisen will experience here.
Yeah, I think Eisen's going to pick up some time here, just having those level 2 spells on Forum. He's going to be Balam. Forum is not going to go in matter if she has level 2 spells. She's still a white mage. Yeah. Big difference between those two types of spells. Meanwhile, Peasants has done some shopping and is coming back. It looks like he's found something that's made him a bit more confident. Meanwhile, Invenerable is going through Antlion now and is getting ready to get into his Leviathan.
Yeah, I think Invenerable's already picked up his Rosa at this point, so his Leviathan fight should be quite fast.
Yeah, that Lit 2 should probably tear through him. Dobby is through the Antlion fight. He's got levels on his Palom, so that's going to help him get a bit further along. We'll see what he gets rewarded with from Kabul. Eisen also not too far behind, just moments away, really, so this is going to be pretty good for these top two runners, while the bottom two are getting through, and it's a pink tail from Kabul. That's still not progression.
Yeah, we're still held back here, so interesting to see at this point to see basically 3 items, none of them really anything to do with progression for the seed. Pink tail, of course, being a key item. Under this flag set, we'll give you a rare item from the adamant cave, but will not give you an adamant as it normally does, because adamants are turned off on this flag set for the league.
Yeah, we decided we didn't want to have too much power and cut back that really big adamant armor, which it's nice, it's really strong, but you can also just carry seeds if you get it very early.
Sometimes it's just a little too strong.
Indeed, I also saw that there was a cursed ring in the Shieldless Tower, so that's a pretty good find, all things considered. That can go and give you a very strong anchor by manipulating the agility system, if you wouldn't mind going to that a bit.
Yeah, that's a pretty huge pickup there. Cursed ring will diminish one character's stats that has it equipped by 15 for all stats. And why that's pretty good is because this is the first, I believe the first Fall Fantasy that had an active time battle system, so they experimented, we'll say, with how that works, and most of that system is based off of Well, in the vanilla game, it's Cecil. Under this flag set, we actually, Boardface, the creator of the game, did some creative coding to actually make it so the character in the middle slot will be our anchor for fights. And what that means is that the ATB is actually based off of that middle slot character. And if you make that character slower, it makes it easier simply just to make the other characters on your team faster if they are at least 2.5 times faster than that middle character. So if you take down their agility by 15, it makes it a lot easier to make the rest of your team as fast as the enemy.
Yeah, and that can matter pretty heavily. Is Hallam, while he's a very strong character, is actually pretty slow, all things considered. He doesn't go and get great speed growth, but if you can mitigate any speed advantage the enemies have over him and let him just throw his quakes and viruses out faster, that's a pretty huge thing to get. And to answer a question from chat, required Demus at Zot, is that possible? Yes. In Zot, you can go and get up to the boss in the Magus Sister spot without any key items. So if Demus is there, they can perhaps say hold a hook that will require you to go back out of Earth, the Tower of Zot, speak to Rosa's mother in Mist, and get a hook and have to proceed underground that way.
Absolutely, and we do see Peasants. Looks like he may be making his way to Babel there now. Still doesn't have his Rosa quite yet, actually.
Maybe he's waiting until after this to go and get go back and get her.
Would make some sense. As part of the attacking Babel, you do or defending Babel, not attacking Babel. That's what you're defending against. But as part of that, you do get a full heal both before the fight and after the fight. So you come out of the fight with both of your characters healed up, and it does set you up to grow around that basically. So the President's probably keeping this in mind, going, you know what, I'll get a heal from this, then I'll go back and get that Rosa.
Yeah, and that heal can really matter when your main damage is based off of MP and you don't have a lot of it to start with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meanwhile, we'll see the other runners just going around doing a lot of shopping. Shopping's a pretty big part of these openings, aren't they, Dusty?
Yeah, so this flag set is a little bit of shopping percent, at least for the first 15 minutes. Items are extremely powerful on this flag set because we do have JI turned on, which means that Japanese items are included in this flag set. What that means is all the cool items that they decided to take out of the non-Japanese releases of the game are included. So we have things like silk webs, which apply to 2 applies of slow in battle, things like illusions that uses blink on the caster, and a bunch of other very, very useful items that our characters will be looking for early on here.
Yeah, there are a few items guaranteed in shops, not included or not limited to life potions, Thor rages, and star veils, which will cast the wall on the person who used them, and cure 2s. Those are the 4 items in the safety shop checks, which I see a lot of runners going in, finding those life potions in Kaipo and buying their silk webs as well.
Yeah, 2 items that will pretty much be silk webs you can get by seed without beating for the most part. They make a huge difference in some fights in terms of giving you advantage of either A, getting through it faster, or B, getting through it at all. But life potions are almost necessary for it, basically necessary for almost every seed.
Yeah, life potions are, well, you might go and have tried to keep everyone alive when you're playing this game, but our runners are not so devoted to that. They're more than happy to just let characters go down, throw a life potion, get them back up, and just keep eating heads while someone else is doing damage. But we see Dobby2step is going into Baron Inn to try and pick up his Tella and facing off to the Water Hag.
Yeah, this is the Water Hag fight, so all they have to do, attack 3 times, and they'll get through this. That's why we call it one of the free fights. Though if you get Water Hag in certain spots, he can be fast, and all he does is physically attack. But if he's in a spot with high physical attack and high speed, he could still hurt you really bad. So
yeah, I've started revising my opinion of exactly how free I consider Water Hag, because sure, he goes down in 3 hits, but you can get some pretty solid hits, and they might not be very free hits. Ooh, and Invenerable finds the other blue rope, the Gauntlet, on Ordeals. Not in the best spot on Ordeals, though, so he at least has something working for him.
Yeah, if Invenerable did find this in the next spot, which would be the Mine on C spot, every single one of these fights would be a back attack, which is always horribly annoying to deal with. But at least in this spot, it's pretty easy. This will be trivial for Invenerable. He'll get through it easily. We do see Kalbrenna at the second spot Baron in for Dobby here. So Kalbrenna, pretty simple fight as well. Basically on that edge of free for the most part. You can stop the back row dolls. And what that does is you can actually stop them from fusing into Kalbrenna, because what happens is when there's only one color left of the dolls, they will turn into Kalbrenna. But if you stop the back row dolls, that doesn't happen. So a little bit of a free fight depending on how you do it.
Yep, it looks like there was a bit of a stream catch-up for eizantayama as he's quickly sped through that fight, and we see that the hook is coming from the Baron in spot. So that's we can find something real fun there.
Absolutely. We could see this might be the only route underground. So in this flag set, you can either go underground by getting the Magna Key or getting that hook early. One of them has to be on this overworld Earth somewhere, or at least behind, Baron Key or Zot or something like that, if that key item is on the overworld Earth. Both of them also could be, so you may see our runners just keep routing through to see if they can find a Magma Key, because it is much faster and much safer for the most part. But we might see a required hook seed here today, which would be pretty great to see.
Yeah, and we see Eisen grabbing his hovercraft to drop off his Pinktail. That is something that's not been terribly popular, as Pinktail doesn't really give, because it doesn't guarantee to give an adamant. You don't know what you're getting, and here we're getting a defense sword, which none of his characters can use.
Yeah, that one of the things is that pool of items is basically, it's full of quite a few useful items, but a lot of them are very character specific, or they're the best of the best belong to Cecil, so at the Excal, the crystal sword. So at the end of the day, most times you won't see people route in that Pinktail unless they're turning the Rat Tail later down the road. But since we do have a pretty weak team here, low HP values, maybe hoping for even a glass helm or something would be fairly useful here.
I imagine a Stardust Rod would actually have been a huge pickup for eizantayama, because that would be a pretty massive DPS boost, and you'd probably be able to go and get through this gauntlet up here with just that if you anchor correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. The Stardust Rod giving plus 15 wisdom definitely would be very useful for our two black mages in the party here. I guess 3 with Tilla, but
yeah, and we see that dobbytwostep is getting the big doll and Baron. This is that's a bit scary for him. Meanwhile, eizantayama's entering the gauntlet fight. Peasants has finished up for Wool, and Invenerable is in the lead with finding Octomam at the Mylon Z back attack spot and getting through that fight. So he'll be just about ready to show us what's in this key item spot on Ordeal.
Oh, and Dobby did bring out that Kalbrenna there. It looks like Rosa is also confused, carrying the Kalbrenna, has turned on the team. This is a little rough, because this makes the fight a whole lot harder as well, depending on how you do your damage here. Kalbrenna will typically just turn back into the dolls, and you have to redo that whole beginning portion of the fight.
Yeah, this is a pretty rough spot. I don't know if he has hourglasses or if he threw an hourglass and they ran out, but that is not very good for dobbytwostep.
Groundflyer mentioned in chat that Wise Eisen trying Ordeals. I would guess to get Tella his spells, as well as just to route in some more key item checks here, because his team is fairly weak. But at this point, he could just make the call to go, I'll just go to Hook and see A, who the character is, and B, if the bosses are free enough to just go with it. But this is one of the things where people's routes will diverge a little bit. The more safer route is just to say, I'll do Ordeals here. But the probably harsher routes to go, I'll see what that hook, and maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, and Dobby does get through that big doll, getting his hook. We'll see if he goes for Ordeals to get the spells on Tella. People could be looking to try and get some Berserk or whatnot, as if you don't go and get this experience here and the key item check, you probably need to get some additional fights in the upper Babel.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see Invenerable get the Tower key there. Or sorry, the Luca key.
That is not everyone's favorite underground check. It's you can go and see what the key item is very easily. You can just walk down there, see what it is, and have no boss fight. But if you want to keep it, you have to go through the boss there, and that boss can be really nasty.
Yeah, I'm actually a proponent for the Luca check. I don't do it all the time myself, but if I'm in a spot where it might be between doing some Feymarch bosses or dipping Tower without the Tower key, I'll probably dip Luca and see if I do have the Luca key, and dip Seal Cave, see what's down there, just because you can see what that key item is.
I see that we're getting some corrections from chat that it was the Tower key, so that's still pretty favorable. That's I'm biased, but I like going and finding the Tower key when I have a hook seed, so I can just set down my hovercraft, go up the tower, get 2 key item checks, and have the Enterprise when I'm out there, which you don't have to worry about the Falcon blocking you. So
absolutely, that is nice to just get right back on that Enterprise afterward.
We see Dobby and Eizan both in their gauntlet fights, though Eizan is getting at the end while Dobby is just starting, but Dobby is using Thor Rages to try and get through the gauntlet a bit faster, which might be working a bit for him because he appears to have anchored, and as his Palom is getting the first turn very quickly, and I don't think he's... Well, I know Palom's not that much faster than Rosa, so Rosa might be wearing some cursed jewelry today.
Yeah, absolutely. Oftentimes, as you mentioned, Baka, you'll see people put on that curse ring on the middle slot, and then that top slot, because of how the priority goes in battle, the top slot character typically will get priority to have the first move after the middle slot character if the middle slot character is very slow.
Indeed. Also, to answer a question from chat, yes, it is the top 2 who will be advancing on after this, and the last 2 will be eliminated from the tournament. The top 2 will go into the final match.
Absolutely. I believe the next match will be on September 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and that will be Magus Knight 2, Penguinator, and Sumu.
That's another stacked group. No matter what we get out of these 2 matches, we're going to have pretty stacked finals, I think.
No, absolutely.
And while the runners are going and retreading similar ground, we also have another free Enterprise event if you're looking for a bit more. We are going to be featured on the GDQ Showcase September 17th at 7 p.m. Dustygriff will be going and running the seed. I'll be joining him for co-commentating, and then we'll go and move both to commentary while eizantayama and Knight 2 players from these top 8 matches, go and do a race there. So if you're looking for more free Enterprise action, you'll find it on GDQ on the 17th.
Should be very hype. I'm very excited for it. Peasants running into an extremely unfortunate event there where he also called the big doll, got confused with Palom, and Palom ice-2'd himself to death.
Ooh, the seed is not treating Peasants kindly. He might need to just take a step back and calm down a little bit and just reassess, because he's rushing into places and getting punished for it, I think.
Absolutely. There can be, at this level, it is not easy to go into it without any nerves. So I can totally understand if he's just having some struggle. But I'm sure he'll hook it back in the swing of things here and catch up a little bit through certain plays that'll make Peasants an extremely good player, really showcase the skills in this tournament, I think, really making a name for himself overall. So,
oh yeah, he's one of the newer people. He was not in last year's tournament like eizantayama and Invenerable, and this is a pretty deep push into it, so there is no shame losing to any people here, but he's still got what it takes to go and finish this, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll probably go see Invenerable, maybe take a little dip into that Eblon cave and see who the characters are, and as well as what the bosses are going to be, which I think we're all a little excited for.
Oh yeah, I'm also interested in the fact that he also picked up the defense sword from that pink towel, maybe looking for something, or maybe hoping that this character he finds here will be able to use it, but both Eizan and Invenerable from Team Golbez going and checking that pink tail when Peasants and dobbytwostep have not.
Yeah, with a right before, in terms of, and there's going to be lots of different frames of thought on this, but I would say personally as well, right before going diving hook, I would probably check it just to say, especially with a team like this where you have such low HP values, just to see if you get some better defensive gear, or as you mentioned before, that Stardust rod to really help you out damage wise.
Yeah, I guess an Artemis bow could also be a pretty big help for this team, as Rosa could use it. It would turn her into a pretty solid fighter. Another find a heroine robe, and you've got a pretty stacked fighter for this stage of the game, all things considered.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Dobby's stream may be facing a little bit of technical difficulty there. Wait and see if that comes up online for us. Oh, we do see. I jinxed myself because I'm giving the people on stream a little luck, I think, because I didn't want to see an edge when you see a massive unit in the siege, just because it's funner that way. But at the same time, nice to see that edge here, very, very strong.
There's another edge in Kaipo as well, so all the edges around. That's quite the edge to get.
Groundflower mentioning that we also have a ninja sword, so that would be extremely strong. It doesn't look like Venerable found
sold it.
Yeah, which I don't blame. That's good money.
Good money. You've got a Masamune. He's also got a assassin knife, which Edge's spells are going to be pretty bad after that, because it gives minus 10 to all of the stat or casting stats, but plus 5 to the attacking stats, and choosing to skip the treasure chest, not looking to go and get the experience from those mad ogres and just go straight down. That's a pretty bold play, as we know it's a Mylon in the Rubicant spot, but we don't know who is in the King Queen Evelyn spot.
Yeah, absolutely. He does know he at least has a level 25 edge here. He has 790 HP, I believe, just around that, so it can survive most things. But the play that you'll often see players make here is if they have a Palom in their party, or really with most parties, they'll come down here and do the Mad Ogre chest, as you mentioned, Baga. Baka has 4 Mad Ogres in it. If you life glitch 3 of them, you get around, I believe, 16,000 experience.
You definitely get some very solid amount of experience. That's a very big thing to go and get for these runs, and that can make a pretty big difference. I can get your characters pretty close to level 20.
Yeah, can often set up either Quake or Virus on Palom, and so yeah, pretty well. We do see Bygone in the King Queen Evelyn slot here. Not too bad in terms of HP, but he's going to hurt real bad in terms of damage.
Yeah, I think he's going to go and miss having... he's just tearing through Invenerable's team. That's going to be very hard to get through. Yes, you can use illusions, but there's the reset. I think Invenerable's going to take a few levels. Or drop his battle speed and go straight back into it.
Yeah, looks like he might have lost a little bit of time there to menu, even though Invenerable, extremely fast menu, very, very good at his menus in battle, as you'll see. Even the best of the best for menuing, you will lose some ticks as the ATB works. So if you slow down that battle speed, it makes it a lot more lenient to get moves off and take advantage. The problem is, of course, it makes the battle go to a bit of a slog for how slow it goes.
Yeah, that's still not changing these hits going to Palom. So Edge is going to go and get a blink up. That will go and protect him for 2 physical attacks. But this Bicon's going to be pretty mean.
Yeah, he's probably going to want to hope that Edge doesn't get vamped here. Maybe he's going to go for a Zerk on him to get extra damage. Baga's not going to have too much HP in this. Looking like around, I'd say something like 50 to 100 HP possibly.
That sounds about right to me. His health gets split 12 ways, with each arm having 1/12 of the total health, and then his main body having the remaining 10/12. So 5,200 sounds like an approximately good approximation. Also, we do have a heads up. dobbytwostep did mention that he's having storms in this area, so he might lose internet. He's still racing, and we'll get him back as soon as he gets internet back.
Invenerable seems like he's making it through this fight just fine here now. He's got enough people up, got some blinks going. Blink, for those who may not know, Blink will block 2 physical attacks, which is basically the main worry about fighting Bygone. And then it will wear off after that, but you can reapply afterwards, of course.
Yeah, and he's going and choosing not to berserk his characters as to not go and kill that back arm, which is a good play for Invenerable. It goes and lets him go and focus all of his damage on the main body, and it goes and prevents that second arm from being there being 3 arms and 3 attackers in the fight, rather than a more manageable 2.
Absolutely. If you take out 2 arms, he will continuously regenerate them, and then, of course, unless you attack them fast enough, they'll attack again, and they're not very nice to deal with. So, and gets through that fight handily. Very well done by Invenerable to return that fight and take the battle speed route for that one.
Indeed, that's definitely a very good win for Invenerable. That's I personally would have liked to have Quake for that. So getting through there without that is probably going to give Invenerable an edge on his opponent.
For sure. I'm actually not going to save. He's going straight into the Smilon fight. Not scared at all of this one, which is pretty fair. It's not too rough of a fight. Pretty high HP on this Smilon. This Rubicant spot is a decent chunk of HP. I think he has somewhere around 20,000 HP in this spot.
Yeah, I know that Knives Out this spot has 25,200 thanks to that remedy and knowing that math. But the Gas are taking up a decent amount of that. He did 1,000 damage with Edge and didn't go and kill something, so that might go and soak up some of this damage.
Absolutely.
And Mylon 1 is not a very scary fight. After he goes and loses all of his gas, he's just going to go and throw lit ones and occasionally punch your party, but I don't think that's going to be a terrible obstacle for Inven.
No, not at all. We did see that Peasants also did get through that ordeals as well, and Eisen also on the Bygone fight here. So Eisen is on the Inven's tail pretty close.
Yeah, Eisen's been beating Inven in the group stage matches for Team Golbez, but he's not willing to go and just give everything up, it seems. Is going in looking for a cheeky Demus hiding somewhere before going back to Baron and getting his hook. And Inven has taken out all of Mylon's pets and is just slowly chipping down his health. That virus did some pretty respectable damage, so I don't think Inven's going to be taking too long to get through this Mylon 1.
Yeah, he's doing about between a 20th and a 10th of Mylon's damage every hit here, so he's gonna be pretty fast to get through this, and we'll see what's in our Underworld for us.
Yeah, I wonder where he's going to choose to stop first. He does have the Tower Key, which is one of the 3 chain items you need to go and complete all the spots underground. There's the Feymarch chest with the 2 Feymarch bosses, Dwarf Castle, which can give a character, the Sealed Cave, which requires the Luca Key, the Tower, which requires the Tower Key we have and has 1 spot all the way up at the top that some people like skipping, and then we have the Sylphs, who if you talk to them without any key items, you can just go down, talk to Yang, return to Babel, and she'll give you 1 key item. But if you have the pan, you can go talk to Yang, hit him with the pan, and get 1 key item from the Sylphs and 2 key items from the Strip Pack of Babel.
Absolutely, and one of the nice things about doing the hook route is you typically come down here at higher levels than if you were to just have the Magma King and go down. On its flag set's not too much of a benefit, I suppose, because you do often have sirens, so you can, if you do have Magma King, go down and just do whatever sirens you want to do to get the level that you need. But at this point, it's pretty nice to be going down with Palom that's going to have some decent levels, and Edge that's pretty powerful. And this fight's going to give a bit of experience as well, so I'd say Invenerable is just going to go right for it and route in some pretty efficient checks here.
Yeah, we see Oh My Body, and Mylon has just gone down. And Invenerable is the first one through to the Underworld at 37 minutes and 18 seconds.
Very impressive job by him there.
And meanwhile, we do see that eizantayama is getting into his Mylon and Friends fight, going and he's got Quake on his Palom, so he's going to throw out damage a bit more quickly than Inven was. Oh, maybe not quite as much. That Quake only did 1600 damage.
We do see Peasants getting his hooks finally from Baron, so hopefully he will make some plays here, get through, get caught up a little bit, and potentially get right back in the race. It only takes one play to really get right back in there, or a wrong play by an opponent, so.
Yeah, if someone does something, devotes a lot of time to a boss check that they don't need to do, you can go and catch up pretty solidly in these seeds. And to answer a question from chat, Dobby has some internet issues. We will get him back as soon as his internet comes back up. Meanwhile, we see Invenerable getting his falcon, soaring into the air, and settling right back down so he can go up that tower, because I believe he saw Ashura at the top of it, and he's swapping around his weapons to give Edge a mute knife.
Yeah, so that mute knife is going to deal a ton of damage to Ashura. Ashura considered a mage, and meaning that mage weapons will deal further really high damage. Mute knife being one of those weapons, Elven bow being another, mute arrows being another. So if he has any of those other ones, he can use that. But I'd say just by zerking that Edge with the massive mute and mute knife, he's going to do some work here.
Yeah, I get a feeling that Ashura is not going to be very assured in her victory.
She's gonna have a pretty bad day, I'd say.
She is. I think she's gonna be encouraged to just shut up and take it from Ed. But he might go and stop and check that tower key spot first, because that's some free experience, and he does have that tower key.
Yeah, since we still do need a Legend Sword as well as Adamant and a way to Zeromus for go mode here. Makes sense to just get this check out of the way. Get it.
Yeah, we do need 4 key items, and we've cleared 5 spots and found 3 of them, none of which are direct progression except for that hook, so still a lot to find here.
Absolutely. We see the often not used flame by Edge there. You don't really see that used to its fullest in a lot of seeds, but considering Edge is so fast, if you do have a lot of characters on the screen that you need to take care of, and you do want to use fire mode for some reason, flame mode works out pretty well sometimes.
Yeah, and not to mention it is boosted by that mute knife, which doesn't come very often, but if you really want to give that extra punch, mute knife will do it. It's doing double duty to this tower.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Chad mentioned, very nice to see that CPU there. CPU very annoying. Though we do have an Edge, so at least with Edge, he can do pretty good physical damage. But if you find CPU in a spot that has a lot of health, with that wall on CPU, very annoying to get through.
Indeed, I saw on Peasant's screen that there was another curse ring in the first chest of Upper Babel. So I imagine eizantayama found that as he did the Mad Ogre's chest, and you need to go and find that chest as the Metrop chests are randomized. And chat pointing out that yes, Tella does have wall, and wall can be pretty helpful in these situations where if you need to, say, reflect spells off your characters, or have your characters reflect spells off, or have the enemy reflect spells, that could be very helpful. But it looks like he's opting to use Starvels instead. Meanwhile, eizantayama is finished getting through that Milan and Friends fight, is underground, and it's also coming up this tower.
And Edge doing just a little bit of damage there. 8,000, not too bad.
I think the Starvels and the Reflects might not have been entirely necessary.
I think Evan is going to be just fine on this one.
Cure 4 does get off, but I don't think Inven's really going to be worried about those punches. They don't seem to be hitting that hard, and he's just going to go and tear poor Ashura down.
Someone asking, what is the life manip? So the life manip on Ashura is another strat you can utilize if you cannot use wall on Ashura, or if you want to lock Ashura on the life face. So what happens is when Ashura uses life, you can attack right when the life goes off. She will rotate her face again to the life face and then cast life again on her next cast instead of rotating and casting Cure 3 or Cure 4. So you can basically lock her into life casts.
Yeah, that's a very important technique depending on the seed you're in. Inven not needing to use it, but he does go and only get a power shirt from that, which, not progression, but he's got an edge. He's a pretty good melee fighter. That's probably going to be pretty helpful for that team.
Yeah, very strong. Power shirt, giving it a lot of strength. I believe plus 15 or plus 10. I can't quite remember, but a very, very powerful item.
It is plus 15 strength. It is one of the top items in the game. It's I've gotten them once in my playthroughs of Final Fantasy XIV. They dropped from the behemoth.
Very, very nice. Yeah, that's going to be actually quite helpful for the Edge, I believe, here, just because Edge does come with really nice items with the black belt, as well as the shorts. Well, the short swords, not the greatest, but the black belt, quite a good item. But that power shirt, going to do a little bit of work here for Invenerable. Plus, he's going to get another check here when we leave the tower itself.
The tower is just giving us equipment and trying to go and get us kitted out, but not actually progressing anything aside from getting us level enter.
44 minutes into this seed, and we've only seen 10 key items, which is pretty ridiculous. You can get roll seeds where you'll be 16 or 17 minutes in and have 5+ key items, depending on how your route goes. But this one is not very given with the key items right now. We're getting some pretty decent gear for our team. Protect ring, nothing to really be too mad about. Can be very, very powerful in terms of making someone very strong against physical attack.
Yeah, that protect ring can really help out, and we're not exactly. Python is one of the worst bosses we've seen so far this seed, but otherwise, his bosses have they've been pretty kind, I think.
Yeah, I think we've had pretty good bosses in certain slots, which means that we're going to see I think we're going to see a pretty ugly moon here, which is nice.
Oh yeah, we're seeing very few key items on Earth, lots of free bosses on Earth. I think the moon is going to go and come back with a vengeance today.
I think so, and at this point, the runners have to be thinking. I would think. At least for Invenerable and for Eisen, who's about to be through these two checks on the tower, Moon's got to be holding. Yeah,
there's so there are 28 key item locations in these flag set, as we have the 17 vanilla the 17 vanilla key item locations. We add in the summoned boss monsters, and we add in the moon bosses. So that totals 28. There leaves about 10 checks that aren't going to be progression, and we found about 5 of them, I believe.
Yeah, so we've gone through a lot already, and our runners doing a great job to get through this quite quickly. 46 minutes in, and we're seeing Eisen already through the hook checks, and also getting through these tower checks, and Invenerable already through the tower checks, and now checking Dwarf Castle for us, which he did find Mega Sisters here. Won't be too bad for him in this spot. He has that new knife. His party is kitted pretty well here, so.
Yeah, looks like he took it off, but still doing 1,000 damage to this Mega Sisters, and Rosa's got mute arrows doing 1,200. These Mega Sisters don't seem long for this. Yep, they're...
it's over. It's over for them. Peasant's doing a good job too, as well. He is catching up a little bit here. He's in the Mylon fight now, so he'll be not too long until he gets to the underground as well. So.
Yeah, that's all the runners are getting close. I wonder if if he dodges that tower, that can go and really catch him up, because Tower's not got the value today. Ooh, we see Edward and Bahamut in the. Oh, Inven doesn't want to go take the true hero of this.
Eddie, not exactly the person that you're looking for in this slot. Can be useful in certain instances. One of the greatest things to have come out of the World Series of Free Enterprise, which was the basically in-between league that we had over the winter. was the Eddie strats for beating Zeromus, which if you're interested, I'd say definitely look up the bots for those during the Eddie flags.
Oh yeah, Edward has done a fair amount of work, and we'll definitely want to go and keep an eye on him because there's some bosses that he can do some pretty impressive work on. Dark Knight Cecil and Odin are two very special fights for Edward.
Yeah, two fights that can be basically the scariest in the game. Eddie just goes, I'll hide, it's okay.
Yeah, that hide just, oh, you're gonna go and do thousands of damage to everyone else in the party. See ya.
And then finally getting a key item here, the Baron key. So he may rush to check that. That's a pretty efficient check considering you will get a character out of the Baron King spot, as well as you will see another character there. And you'll see a character and a key item at that spot, as well as you will open up the Odin spot when you beat the King spot. So you can get 2 key items from there if there are 2 key items there.
Yeah, that Odin spot can still be pretty mean, but we do need a way to the moon, technically. He could be hiding there. He could also be hiding in Feymarch and then going and checking Tamra, finding some cabins, and is heading his way down to Feymarch, while Peasants is finished off Mylon and Friends, is getting through to the Underground, while eizantayama, finishing up Tower, is following Inven's route pretty closely and doing Dwarf.
Invenerable not checking the employment Dwarf. Chat mad at him this day, but I totally understand it. In this setting, you need every second you can get. He knows that the racers he's up against, if he gives up that 5 to 10 seconds, that could be a place for him, and a place could be being in the top 4. So I understand that.
Is it really a place if you haven't validated your run? Is it really?
These are the sorts of deep discussions we get in on the Free Enterprise streams, folks.
Speaking of deep discussions, deep down in Feymarch in the vanilla location, we find the rat tail, which we can turn in on that adamant cave where we turn in the pink tail for a key item.
Yeah, very nice to see that there. Very quick check. Definitely will see that quickly. Ooh, and we have a King Queen Evelyn down here, which is one of the easiest free boss fights, possibly the easiest. And a Demus, which is double value for us. That's a key item check as well as a key item from Rydia's mom.
I'm going to rate this as one ultra free boss and one incredibly unfree boss, because while Mist Dragon is 2 key items, Mist Dragon is tanky. Zerking for Mist Dragon is extraordinarily time consuming because of those cold mist counters in the mist form. And that punch, a sure spot does not punch softly. You're going to have to go and work for that.
Yeah, that I can understand. I would partially understand here if Enven says, you know what, I'll come back for that Demus later. Even though I know that's value, that's going to be a long fight. He does have edge, which will help him get through it fairly fast, as well as putting those quakes on. Maybe bluffing his palm a little bit to get more value out of that, but it won't be the fastest he fights.
Yeah, you can use the Unicorns to go and cleanse Berserk, but it's still going to be you're doing a few thousand damage at a time, cleansing Berserk, doing a few thousand damage at a time, cleansing Berserk. I think Invenerable is going to take his free item from King Queen Evelyn and start looking for the next place to go.
Absolutely. This guy noting that we do need to ask him about this Feymarch play. Absolutely will. Feymarch, mentioned by Inven before, that's the play that he does not like to make too much because, as we mentioned, you can easily waste a lot of time in Feymarch. While you can find key bosses or free bosses, you will often find bosses that take much longer than A, they may be worth, or B, than you can even do at the time. So it's much of a trap sometimes in terms of going down here and trying to do a fight, but also losing a lot of time in doing so.
Yeah, though Inben did go back up to that save point, is using a cabin and saving. I think he's going down from Mist Dragon. Even he just got a pan for free from those King Queen Evelyn's, but he wants to go and get the extra value from Mist Dragon, it looks like.
Yeah, it makes some sense here, just due to the fact that even though the fight's going to be longer than if it was other bosses here, the fact that you're going to get 2 key items out of it, or possible key item checks out of it, means that it's much more valuable that way. So your time spent a little more efficient. So.
Yep, and we see that this Master Dragon is punching hard, but we've had illusions. We're going to be able to go and survive this. He's going to be able to get through this fight, but it will go and take him a bit of time. Meanwhile, Eisen, after going in finishing up Dwarf Castle, is following Inven down to this Feymarch. I don't know if you checked Tamra, so not going to go and have cabins. Meanwhile, peasants following along, clearing tower, getting his power shirt, and heading down the tower.
Yeah, a few steps behind Eisen and Inven here. Inven a few steps ahead of Eisen. Not too sure where Dobby stands at this point. Still playing the seed. Hopefully we'll be able to check him with him soon.
Looks like he's has some pretty serious internet issues. Hopefully he'll be able to get back sometime. But Inven going in, trying to cut through this Mist Dragon, making good use of that blink spell. That Tella gets a lot of flack for not being very good at the spells he does cast, and he deserves a lot of that flack, but Blink is one of those great spells that Tella starts with and is used to amazing effect in fights like this.
Absolutely. Moonblade's worth noting that he does have 5 free checks after this Demon's fight. Invenerable does. He does have that Pan turn in, which will be 3 checks. The free check that you have from Sheila, as well as the 2 checks from Pan, the check from Demist, as well as that Rat Tail turn in. So Demist, Invenerable has a whole lot of checks to do after this fight.
Yeah, that's when you put it that way, that's a pretty heavy commitment to Demist, I think. If you can get 4 of those, you can have 4 checks done before 1 or 2 minutes, it seems. That's
very true.
That's hopefully this Demist pays out for Inven, because other players skip it, and that might be a place for them to catch up. We see Eisen going in, just having a chat with Edge's parents. Fun heart-to-heart bonding moment, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Peasants is going and taking his frustrations out on a different computer than he might want to go and take his frustrations out on, but still getting through. We'll see where he goes next.
Venerable doing good work here too. He's doing 5,600 damage with those Ice 3s, so we're not going to see Demus long for this world too much longer here.
Yeah, he might be able to go and finish this the next cycle, and if he can do that, that's a pretty good... That's a lot of stuff cleared for him. That's pretty much the entire underground cleared, with the exception of Luca Key, once he goes and turns in his Pan.
Chat mentioning this fight is definitely a bit... we see in both sides here. It is long, and it is taking Invenerable about 3.5 minutes up at this point, but at the same time, if he did leave, and the chains that he had open did not lead to go mode, and this did, and he chased that Baron key would likely take longer, so understood to take this route here. Definitely not a bad call at all.
Yep, and he's through. He's got that Ice 3, level 3 spells on Palom. Definitely did go and help out a fair bit, and we'll see what his reward is for this fight.
We get ourselves a package. At the end of the day, not too bad to at least see a key item there. For Invenerable, every time you get 1 more key item, you're getting closer to that 10 key items. Even if nothing pays out from that Demist, at least that is 1 more key item towards that 10 that will hopefully help him push him along a little faster. But I'd say Invenerable's feeling pretty good right now. He had really good route early. As we know, he is ahead of the other racers by a decent margin here. So,
yeah, Eisen is just going to that Demist fight now. Peasants is just going down into Feymarch. I believe Peasants is skipping Dwarf Castle, so if Baron Key doesn't pay out, that might go and catch Peasants up. But if it does, that will set him behind a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see a lot of key items, or will key item checks come up on the invenerable stream. As mentioned before, he's probably going to see a whole lot of key items just because of how many just non-key items we've seen already. So,
Yeah, there's a spoon. Pretty good throwable when you have an edge in your party. Can't go and use it with Edward on this set of flags, as the spoon flag is not enabled, but we'll see what else he gets out of this check.
yeah, actually not hating seeing that spoon there. We haven't seen a lot. We've seen some hard bosses, but we're going to see a lot more, I think, on the moon, considering what we've seen for free bosses early on here. So getting an item that deals a ton of damage early will really, really help Invenerable here. I think if he gets into a boss spot that it needs to be, which I'm sure he feels comfortable that if he finds a boss that he knows is going to make it faster, he's going to throw that spoon for sure.
Yeah, alternatively, you can just go to the moon. There's a save point near a lot of bosses. You could save, chuck that spoon, get through the boss. Don't find what you're looking for? Reset. Keep it. Do the next boss fight. Rat tail giving a ninja shirt. Not the value you're looking for. And that is yet another non-key item found. So each non-key item we find from these... Yeah.
More signs pointing to the moon, I think, for this one. But at the same time, we could run pretty quickly into getting our go mode shortly here, though we do know that we do need 2 items for go mode, as well as a way to Zeromus still. That the Darkness Crystal has to be somewhere on the Underworld, just because of how the logic works. So we'll be here somewhere, but where it will be, we don't know at this point.
Yeah, it should either be behind the Sheila, this Baron Key, or a chain from either of them. Or Demus, Magma Key from Sheila 1, so you know there is no second way in the ground, and Luca Key. Sheila's holding the keys today, and that's her full set of keys found.
That is 10 key items for Invenerable there. Very quickly changed from, I believe it was at like 3, 4 before the Dwarf Castle check, and now up to 10, so... that came around very quickly.
Yeah, he had 3 coming into the underground: the pink tail, the tower key, and the hook. And the tower, both spots gave no key items. So the rest of the underground has been making up for this key item drought.
Yeah, absolutely. Peasant's making his way through his King Queen Eblon fight. Doing pretty good work to catch up here, actually. He's not too far behind Eizan, as it seems. I'm not sure if he's checked that Dwarf Castle just yet, but
I believe Peasant skipped Dwarf Castle and just came straight to Feymarch after completing Tower. But we see that Invenerable received the Earth Crystal from Demus, so that is yet another key item. There's actually surprisingly few key items left to be found. There's only 5 we can find at this point. The Adamant, the Legend Sword, the Twin Harp, the Darkness Crystal, and the Sand Ruby.
we pretty quickly went from having nothing to having almost everything open to us there. So we've got, I should say, just Luca Kias, Will's Baron, and Earth Crystal. But those are some choices for our runners at this point. But as we mentioned, they do have to find some way to the moon. So one of these is going to lead to that, or could also lead to part of the go mode, depending how the routing happens here. But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and we see Eisen's through getting his package. He's going to go and get his slew of key items and have almost everything except the moon open to him. This is there's only one what we call fetch quest left to find, and that's the Twin Harp. Otherwise, everything's open.
Absolutely. Triple Factor I mentioned isn't package a character. It is. You go into the left side of Mist Village, and it makes the cutscene package, or the package cutscene, happen. Most of the runners at this point probably won't do it just because they're very happy with their team. They have a pretty solid team here. But early on in many seeds, you may see runners take the package and check it just because they want a stronger team or want to see if there's a Fusoya or something behind it. But at this point, I think Invenerable's feeling pretty strong and saying, you know what, I don't need that package.
And if he really does want more characters, he's going to be probably going through 3 character checks, with Baron Castle being one of them, and Tower of Zot with that Earth Crystal being 2 more. He'd even get the character from Darkness Crystal, which that's a fair number of people to go and find, to be entirely honest.
Yeah, I think at this point, if Invenerable takes anything, it may be another character as an anchor. But I know he loves that Tella as anchor. I'm not sure if he found the cursed ring. I think there was a couple found, one in Babel, one in Upper Babel. But either way, he seems to be killing off Tella to make sure that his agility doesn't stay low enough. So he's going to be likely just keeping him around for anchoring, because Tella does have other uses as well. So
Yeah, I think with Tella's been revived, he had 10 HP at the start of that fight. I think he might not have a cursed ring, because if he had a cursed ring, Tella would probably only have 5. But there's the Elements fight showing up on the Baron throne and getting absolutely destroyed by a fire 3 to the face.
That Elements was online for this world on this day, unfortunately. Unfortunate for him, at least. Fortunate for Invenerable. Went through the fight extremely fast. Sometimes you'll see runners, you did see a crumble animation on the Fiend spots. They do have a crumble animation at the end of the fight. If you use a Kamikaze to actually kill them at the spot, you can actually skip that animation. And we do see the legendary Fusoya here. Invenerable definitely will take him. Fusoya, probably undoubtedly the strongest character in the game, at least in terms of how much he can do for you early on. Peters off a little bit later in terms of power, just because he has a little bit of a low MP pool as well as low HP pool. That doesn't increase that much, but for the mid game and getting through the moon, he is extremely useful.
Oh yeah, and well, we do have that F Fusoya challenge flag on, which means he doesn't start with all of his spells. Every boss you kill gives an extra 100 HP and 3 spells back. Pretty sure we've come close to going, if we haven't already, getting Fusoya to full power.
Yeah, absolutely. Looked like he might have been around 1700 health. And we do see a little bit of value there. There is our adamant, the first part of our crystal. So Venerable feeling good about that. And he does have a full powered Fu here. Has Nuke, comes into the party, feeling very strong right now, I believe.
And that Baron key was from Dwarf Castle, which Peasants is in now. He's going to get that. That's going to be something he needs to do in Get Go mode, but Invenerable has a pretty solid lead at this point, having completed found one part of the crystal, and has all the checks open to find the darkness crystal, realistically.
Absolutely. Yeah, going down to this holding spot, he feels very powerful now. If you have anyone in your party that has Nuke, whether it be Fu or someone else, you're feeling like you could pretty much take on any spot in the game. He has that very powerful physical attack as well with Edge, so he's probably going to be able to get through anything. Oh, we do see a DKC here. Not sure what the damage rolls are going to be like, but this could be a little rough. He does have some good health values though, so not too bad. Very easy for him.
Yeah, Fusoya's going to be able to tank this. He's throwing Hero 3 with Edge, and Fusoya's just going to go and say, is that all you have?
Odin spot, very fast, but not that bad in terms of Dark Knight waves, it seems. So easy fight for Invenerable to just get through. We'll see if he gets anything of value here, or just resets back to his save.
Artemis Bow is valued depending on your different value definitions of value, but not what Invenerable wants to go and see. So looks like he's going underground to check that Luca key rather than going up Zot.
Yeah, I don't blame him here. Zot is a long check. You have to walk all the way through a dungeon, multiple cutscenes, multiple character screens, multiple boss fights. So it's the good amount of commitment to go to Zot versus you can just go to Sealed and check the boss, or check the key item rather, if it is a key item. And if it's not something, you can just reset out. You can also check the boss for free then. The only problem with the Sealed cave check often ends up being that if it is a rabbit hole, so if you do not know if it leads to value, it can lead you down a rabbit hole that may take a little bit long.
Yeah, he's I mean, I like this play. He goes and gets him a key item checked faster. He doesn't have to look for D-Mist if there's no key item here. And that Earth Crystal is behind D-Mist. Some people might skip out on that, like Peasants has. And if you go and check Luca first, where you're pretty sure your opponents are going to check, compared to the Earth Crystal, where you think they might not have it as soon as you do, that will keep you from falling behind. And if you want to play safe, this is definitely the safer play.
Absolutely. Chat noting that one of these routes has to lead to darkness here. Absolutely right. Either has to be behind the Sealed or the Earth Crystal. The Twin Harp could be in there as well, but it just means it would be in between the Darkness Crystal and whatever the first check was.
Yeah, though if the Twin Harp is in here, that is a lot of key items on Earth.
Yeah, absolutely. We went from going, Moon must have every single key item in the game, to looks like there's a ton of stuff on the Earth.
And meanwhile, speaking of going and finding key items, well, there's a Darkness Crystal for Invenerable, and eizantayama is going to be rewarded with something going up Zot, but we don't know what.
Yeah, there's a vanilla Darkness Crystal for Inven, so interesting find here. I would imagine we'll see him definitely go straight to
I'm sorry, I'm evil, but Wyvern here is going to hurt. He does have the speed to go and get a 1-star belt. For setting anyways, though. Does not want to go into that with just one character.
Yeah, I don't blame him here. That's going to be a really rough fight to deal with just one character up, but really good sign that he could at least get 1-star veil off. He's going to toss his party around a bit. He has a really great anchor in Tela already, so he's pretty set up here. This could be a pretty huge difference maker for our seed, just due to the fact that runners don't have a good anchor set up for this. It can be near impossible to get through this fight.
Yeah, and Invenerable actually has the worst anchor. He does not have the curse string that eizantayama and Peasants have. This is going to be interesting for Invenerable. Also, if he had kept that Artemis bow, he would have been able to adjust Rosa's agility upwards and have a better anchor as well. So,
yeah, that's a very good point. The fact that Peasants and Eisen do have that curse ring means that they should have a pretty easy time to fight. They're going to make pretty much their whole team relative agility, which means they'll probably, if they really tried, get 4-star veils off if they wanted to. So they'll be able to get through the fight pretty handedly. But Invenerable also seems like he's going to be able to get through here with that battle speed change that he made.
Yeah, getting 2-star veils off before, 3-star veils off before that Mega Nuke comes out. That's looking pretty good for Invenerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
The important thing to note is that every runner is going to be required to go and do this, because no matter what, either this Darkness Crystal is going to be the way to Zeromus, or it's going to be the way to the Legend Sword, as Earth can only hold either Legend or Pass, or lead to Legend or Pass. There is no double key item checks left.
We do see another Fusoya up in that Zot, actually.
Well, that starts getting interesting. How many Fusoyas would you want to go and take? He's pretty solid, but in the Z fight, he's got low MP, and he might be hard to go and do full reflex strats with, even just 2 of them.
It's a really good point. The nice thing about Fusoya is he does come with all his spells and whatnot, so when it is time to go, you don't have to worry about him too much, versus, if you have Zerkers in your party, you can set it up pretty nice that he's the one that just supports them and you get through the fight. So you don't even have to worry about levels as much. But at the same time, he can go down pretty easily if you don't have the party set up just right. So
yeah, and that small MP pool does not go and last very long in a protracted fight. So especially if you're trying to throw nuke secure 4s. Interesting to see how this goes. Meanwhile, we see Peasants getting through the Elements fight and is going to be rewarded with his Adamant, while eizantayama is fighting the Zot boss, and we'll see what key item is there.
yeah, absolutely. Would imagine Eisen will probably go for that Baron key after this. He may be doing the route that you'll see some runners take, where they do Zot first if they do plan on doing it at all. Just because it does teleport you right in front of Baron with a full heal, and sets you up pretty nice to do that check as well. The only problem with it is, of course, Zot, very long check, can end up taking quite a bit of time, but if you're committed to it, not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, and we see Inven turning his Darkness Crystal and not checking Zot. So if Zot holds the Legend Sword, this is going to be bad for Invenerable, but between the two odds, I like Darkness Crystal more than Zot, to be entirely honest.
Absolutely. I think you would see most runners here with the setup that Inven does, and also knowing how he's played the seed. I think our Inishu is probably feeling pretty good, just due to how cleanly he executed a lot of the routing and the fights. He's probably feeling ahead, but at the same time, you never know.
Yeah, it is a randomizer. This is the higher percentage play, but it could still go and not work out for invenerable.
Exactly. It's not the 100% play for a very good reason.
Eisen getting through the evil wall at Babel, and we'll see what key item we're getting from Zot. And it is the Twin Harp. So
we do have some music for ourselves.
Does the Twin Harp have... Oh, sorry.
Sorry. If Eisen does decide to take the Twin Harp, he kind of, I would say, in his shoes, he doesn't have much of a choice. You put that much time into that Zot check, you have to follow through if it's a chain, unfortunately.
Yeah, you've killed that Mist Dragon, you've done Zot, you've got a lot invested in this. You kind of need it to pay out. And while it would be amusing, if it pays out with a Sand Ruby, that is seriously putting you far behind. But if it pays out with a Legend Sword, that is going to save you.
Absolutely. We do see Invenerable now heading up into the moon here. We'll see how he decides to route this.
Looks like he's trying to do Cave Bahamut first. Maybe he's just going to do a bit of grinding in there and then see the boss and go from there. Or maybe he's just trying to see if there truly is always value in Cave Bahamut.
Yeah, his team is pretty set up already. Even just having a good anchor setup and boost is almost enough sometimes to get you through. You have that on top of Edge with good physical attacking. He's going to be able to get through a lot of things pretty easily, but depending on what we see up here, it could be pretty ugly. But the fact that he only needs one item for go mode, I do like this play here of just checking to see, wait, what's up here? Let me check K Bahamut, because if this is go mode, I'm done. I'm out of here.
And we find the moon boss, no level grinding, just going straight into it. Let's see what it is. It is Paladin. Not the worst boss, but he's still going to hit kind of hard for the spot.
Yeah, gonna hit pretty hard. He does, as we already seen Venerable use through the seed already, has multiple ways to blink as well as illusions, so pretty much not a worry at all for this fight, but just will take a little bit of time. I believe it's just around 35,000 HP in this spot, so it's pretty rough.
Yeah, and he's going to go and counterattack normal physical attacks with slow, but he does have a Fasoya who can cast nuke, so he can rely on that for damage. Meanwhile, we see Eisen going into the Elements fight, going to get his Adamant shortly, and Peasants going into the Luca Cave, going to get his Darkness Crystal. So Peasants might be catching up and getting some ground on Eisen just by skipping some checks.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be very, very interesting to see what Eisen gets from that Twin Harp, if he does choose to go with it. Because if that's our Legend Sword, we're going to have a really interesting race ahead of us.
Oh yeah, and to answer a question from chat, Golbez has not been seen. Kaniza was seen in the waterfall, and I believe, I can't remember who was seen in this cave, but wasn't someone exceptionally threatening. We've got a lot of mean bosses left on the moon, but we do have the Kaipo guards left, so that's one free boss we could find on the moon.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do Event making pretty good work on this build them here. Quake doing around 3,000 damage, each hit from Edge doing around 3,000 damage, and he does have nuke going off here, so he's doing some. I think he's going to get through this fight just definitely just going to get through it just fine, but also pretty fast.
Yeah, this fight is going to go and be it looked pretty mean, but he's carving it down and cutting it down pretty well. dobbytwostep is having internet issues. There were storms in his area, and he is currently unable to go and stream. We're working on getting him back as soon as we can.
And we do find ourselves an X-Cal for Invenerable. Not very useful for his current team, but a good throwable for Edge. Could help in certain fights.
Yeah, not the holy sword you're looking for, but it's still a good holy sword. We still have to go into the Lunar Subterrane and see the character on the Lunar Dais. But speaking of going into somewhere, we see eizantayama going in to check his Twin Harp. Meanwhile, Peasants finds Wyvern and gets one star bell off, is going to see how well he can get through this. He does have that cursed ring. If he needs to reset, he's not going to have to go and worry too much about his anchoring, I think.
No, not at all here. He's if he does want to just reset this fight and come back to it, he should have a better time. But let's go give him a shot. Nah, he does decide to reset. Probably the better move here. Get a better setup for yourself.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, that lower battle speed is going to be helpful. And we see on the Lunar Diet another edge. Dusty, you said there weren't going to be edges in the seed. We found 3. I think you need to work on cursing people better.
I know. I owe someone money at this point, I think.
Not taking edge because, well, edge requires 2 weapons, and we found 2.
Yeah, at this point, probably doesn't really want another edge. Edge, while very strong, needs decent equipment basically to be as usable as you want him to be, and it's pretty hard to come by the equipment that makes him the best in this game. So, or one of the best rather.
Yeah, he's you're not gonna go and find find a crystal sword or an Excalibur and turn him from 0 to hero like you do with Cecil. Who, speaking of, if there's a Cecil in the seat, he's either behind package or in the giant, which is a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, very much so. We've brought it up a few times across the league. People will probably mention, but I know I find Cecil is one of the most powerful characters on this flag set. That guaranteed excal in the pool, as well as the agility agnostic flag being on, which does, as we mentioned earlier, make the middle slot character be the anchor instead of Cecil. Makes him not tied to being as slow as he normally is. And when he's not slow, he is super strong because he gets very strong weapons. The 2 strongest swords in the game both belong to him. No one else can equip them. So makes a big difference if you do have a Cecil on the team, as well as the equipment for it.
Yeah, the 3rd strongest weapon in the game has an attack power of 109, doesn't give any stat bonuses. The 2nd strongest weapon in the game has an attack power of 150 and gives additional strength. And the strongest weapon in the game, okay, that's Discounting the Spoon, has 200 attack power and gives 15 strength. I think they like Cecil a fair bit.
I think so. We do find ourselves a Odin at this, I believe, went to the D lunar spot first, which makes some sense. You do get 2 key item checks here. Doing some pretty good damage, but there is 42,000 health here. A lot to get through.
Yeah, I think if Inven really wanted to min-max, I think I spied a Thunderclaw in his inventory, but I don't think he's going to need that much min-maxing for this fight. He's doing good damage with his edge. He's getting through this pretty well. Odin is hit twice, and he's throwing out a soap web now. He's got Lit 3 on his Palom. He's got Nuke on his Visoya. He's going to be able to go and chew through this fight. There's the Sword Rage, but I think he might be able to get through this.
Yeah, he's dealt quite a bit of damage at this point. Throwing out that Nuke because it's a faster cast than Lit 3.
Chat pointing out this is music. Sorry. Eisen getting through that. Inven finding a crystal ring and a dragoon spear through that. Not getting what he wants, but Eisen, we'll see if the legend sword is on here and if the moon is haunted.
And we do find the legend sword at Twin Harp.
Wow. Smapty, congratulations on rolling yet another seed where the moon has absolutely nothing.
Well, I was going to apologize for talking through music, but we will get to hear music a bunch more times during this scene at this point. So at least we're going to have some remixes going on here.
Oh yeah, we're going to see it. But Peasants is going to the moon following Invenerable. This is going to come down pretty heavily to what Dobby does. We haven't seen Dobby because of his internet issues, but if Dobby full clears Earth before going down and doing Luca, Dobby's in a better position because that legend sword. eizantayama just flying around for a bit, thinking of where do I go? Where do I go? Maybe he's missed something on his tracker, but he knows Luca Key leads him to the moon, and the moon will lead him to victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we do see Eisen's gonna go for just Crystal here and definitely be the first one into the Zeromus fight. He has some grinding ahead of him, but with 10 key items, team that's pretty stacked already, not gonna be that much grinding.
Yeah, I wonder if he finds anything in this shop. He's not going to know that Edge is for him on the moon, so he probably won't be considering buying 2 weapons for Edge, but we'll see how he approaches this.
Oh wow, he does find ninja swords. If he did know it was an Edge up there, that would be a good knowledge to have, but...
He's buying a Charm Rod. Eisen showing off that select option. Apparently one of the greatest challenges that board had with adding the feature to use select to find out what the stats of an item are is actually enabling the select button.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a super useful option. And I know when I first started running the game, I could not keep straight which rods did what in terms of which was the best for wisdom boosting and which was like a little bit worse than the others and whatnot. So very, very helpful for runners in the game if you say, what does this one boost again? Does it boost enough? Do I care about it? And Eisen choosing to buy a few of them.
Yeah, once again, we'll give that extra 10 wisdom to his Fasoyas. I wonder if he's going to go for reflex strats because he's got a pretty mage-heavy team, to be entirely honest. He's got 10 key items. He'll be able to go and grind up to nuke without too much difficulty. Meanwhile, on the moon, we see that, as we predicted, wow, actually, Ogopogo is in his vanilla spot on the moon and Plague was in his vanilla spot, unless I'm terribly mistaken. These moon bosses didn't go out of their way today.
No, we have a few lazy bosses on the moon that said, I'm not being shuffled in this pool. I like my spot just how it is.
I mean, Peldum at least moved out of the top of the cave into Bahamut's cave, but Paladin, Plague, not moving. Wyvern at least got adventures saying, no, you don't get to come to the moon today unless you go through me. And in Wyvern's case, that's a bit of an upgrade because that spot's very fast. And Mega Nuke's really mean. You really have to anchor in order to get through Wyvern in that spot. You cannot go and outspeed him in any realistic fashion.
Our player is definitely showing some really nice knowledge by showing off how they anchored for that fight, as well as made a really quick call to turn down that battle speed because they knew it was just going to be the quickest option there to say, you know what, resetting, making the battle slower is sometimes just by far the fastest way to get through things. For Wyvern, and the fast oftentimes is.
Yeah, and speaking of using game knowledge, we see that Invenerable has thrown up a wall on Rosa and is bouncing off spells. That's because Ogopogo really hates you. He really hates those black mages. If you go and use magic on him, he's going to counter with Blaze, and that's going to hurt. Meanwhile, Peasants is on the moon. He's going to follow the Invenerable's footsteps and is going to be rewarded with a lot of nothing. We're going to find a sand ruby somewhere up here, and if people really, really want it, after they finish the moon, they can go see there's a sand ruby, see there's ninja swords for sale in Coco Smith's shop, and deck out a second edge, but they're not going to find anything else on this moon.
No, absolutely. We do see Ivan does just sadly watch Wyvern as his party gets 5 quad 9s right to the face. Doesn't even reset, just watches the damage roll and says, you know what, I'm going to put that curse ring on. I'm going to turn my battle speed down a little bit. We've seen the Song of Dance before. He's going to get through this just fine after he does this, I believe.
Yeah, he's got double Fasoya. He's probably going to take those walls and say, you want to cast Nuke? I can cast Nuke too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's interesting about the seed is that it requires picking up 2 Fasoyas. That is not a usual thing to get in these types of seeds, as you need to get the Fasoya from Baron for the Adamant, and you need to get the Fasoya from Zot to get the Twin Harp, to get your Legend Sword.
Yeah, very long checks as well. I mean, you don't, as we mentioned before, you kind of want to be as efficient as you can in this routing here. And while it may not always be the most efficient choices you'll see people make, maybe either objectively or based on what you want to route or how someone would route the game, But that doesn't always matter, of course, as we're seeing here. It's just, you know what, if you want to make a gamble of, hey, I chose this path, I'm going to keep going down it, and it does lead to the go mode, then you know what, that's the path to take.
Yeah, that's definitely... Statistics will tell you what is the likely option, not what is the option, and it's definitely showing today. Inven chose the likely route, and Eisen chose the one that was going to go, and that gave him his legend sword. And he also showed making good use of that spoon that we're also required to have, because two edges are required in the seed as well. But that CX flag is not really going into limiting our party. Meanwhile, Invenerable finds the pass at Wyvern spot.
Yeah, at least he will get to Zeromus a little faster here when he does get his go mode. But as we mentioned earlier, he's got some checks ahead of him. He's definitely going to clear this moon before he heads on here, and then go for whatever his last check, and it's going to end up obviously being that Zot check, because there's just no rabbit holes left to go.
Yeah, Inven has one boss left, and then he's going to go and be getting into Zot, go and get his joint Harp and get his legend sword, while Peasant is going down and climbing to the bottom of the Lunar Subterrane. That's if there's any consolation for Invenerable, it's that Eisen is not as far ahead as he could be, and Inven is going to be in a position to just destroy Zeromus when he gets there after getting all this moon experience.
Absolutely. And definitely gotta give some props to our runners here for how they've played this seed. Really, really great show. Being through a hook seed, through almost every single thing in the overworld, underworld, and moon by an hour 30. Super impressive. Definitely give everyone a follow here. As well as definitely want to give a shout out to the team that is restreaming, commentating, and tracking this tonight. So we have Smake D restreaming, it's Paranoia, tracking, and Bakashinboi commentary alongside me. So
yes, make sure to give Dustygriff a follow, because he's the better player between the two of us. But
well,
all fantastic people here.
You made it further than me this year, so I mean, you know, let's be real here.
I mean, I live by the phrase better lucky than good, but you know. Meanwhile, we see that Invenerable is not getting lucky right now. He's found Golbez. Golbez is eating half his team. He left 2 mages and now has to get through this lovely, lovely troll of a man.
Ha, ha, ha.
And sadly, we do not have Inven's lovely Golbez emotes for from Banker Paste.
Yeah, very, very awesome addition to the community that Inven added in with the Yi and the Ha emotes. Add a little bit of flair to the sadness that you get when you do find a Golbez fight, because you know, well, there goes probably like 3+ minutes left.
Yeah, Golbez, in addition to being just throwing spells and kind of obnoxious that way, really likes listening to himself talk. And he talks every time you start the fight, and after he goes and kills 2 of your characters, he likes to talk some more. And it's very easy to die in that position because he opens up with Virus and Lit 3. Fortunately, this Peldum spot does not have exceptional magic, so Golbez is not one-shotting this team. Rosa has enough levels to have life 2, is bringing Edge up completely, and is getting ready to just, I want to go and take this person out. He's throwing the Excalibur in Golbez's face, hoping that might go and just get him to leave him alone.
Yeah, at this point, just saying, you know what, I'm sick of this fight. Throw out all the damage I got and hope that I get that. And we do see the prompt come up when you do see the Y. It means that you've done enough damage and Golbez is dead.
So Inven is going to find his Sand Ruby here, because that's literally the only thing it can be and the only place the Sand Ruby can be.
Yeah, we've seen every single spot checked at this point. Hour 31 into the seed, and all that Inven has left right now is that Zot Crystal, and he knows as well that it has to lead into the Twin Harp, which has to lead into the Legend Sword.
Yeah, he's going to be feeling a bit behind right now, because he knows anyone who skipped Moon isn't going to go and be they've got everything they need. They just full cleared Earth. And that happened to Inven last seed as well. He full cleared Moon. Eisen didn't. Eisen got a crystal, and Inven was scrambling to go and catch up.
As Chad has pointed out, there's going to be a very fast 20-28 for Inven. Very well played. And honestly, everyone playing this quite well. Peasant's going to be making through quite fast as well. The only problem, of course, being that he's a little bit behind Inven and a decent chunk behind Eisen at this point, unfortunately. As we mentioned, not too sure where Dobby is currently standing due to he has been having some connection issues due to weather in this area, but is still hopefully playing off streams.
Yeah, and that's we're going to be checking with someone to see who, if we can get an update on Dobby when it comes down to seeing the finishes and whatnot. But Eisen deciding, nah, I don't need a second edge. I'm just going to go with this team of mages and roll from here. Leaving a Palom dead in the middle at the moment. I wonder if he's going to keep him as an anchor or if he's going to go and level him up to go with full reflex strats.
Yeah, it's a hard choice here at this point just because of how exactly he has his party set up. He does have the good physical damage from the edge, but at the same time, maybe not enough to want to just rely on that. So, not too sure exactly if Eisen's going to go for a reflect totally here or some sort of hybrid.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a very good question for Eisen. That leaving Palom down would be very hard because Palom's got the strongest nuke in the game. But if you leave him down, you've got relative agility 1, and that can be pretty huge with 2 Fasoya.
Yeah, for sure. And if you are using that edge to his full potential in terms of damage, he's going to be real fast. Of course, it's going to be relative agility 1. Circuit him will just make an incredible amount of moves, as well as we do have good equipment for him too. So, could be really interesting to see what he decides to do here. I'd say we're going to see possibly some gold dragons go down here, King Ryu's. Or actually, I think Eisen may have already done his grind here.
Maybe he's thinking he doesn't need to grind because he's got 2 Fasoyas and Rosa. Or he's just turning around right this.
Partially went down. He said, "You know what? I'm good. let's turn around and do a few shards." He may have been thinking, maybe I can just go for this. Maybe I just say, you know what, I'll do a couple sirens. At this point in the seed, I can totally understand Eisen may be thinking, oh geez, no one else is finished yet. I feel ahead, but at the same time, is someone on the Zeromus play? Is someone a little bit ahead of me? This is the part that can be shaky when you have go mode and you haven't seen any dot duns yet. It can be one of the most anxiety-provoking parts of the seed. Just due to how much is going on.
Yeah, that's one of the most terrifying parts about these randomizers. You know how well you've played, but you can see all of your mistakes and think, I lost time here, I lost time here, I lost time here, I lost time. Oh god, I'm behind. You need to go faster.
Absolutely.
And that can be a very good way to make mistakes.
Absolutely. We do see a few King Ryu's here. This is one of the main grinds in the game. For those who may not know, it's a siren encounter. Sirens getting the rarest encounter in an area. And Eisen also pulling off the life glitch here. With the life glitches, he actually pulled off a double life glitch. Very well played by Eisen. You can pull off a double life glitch depending on how you buffer your moves. So he used the flame attack, which has a bit of a cast time, allowed him to get 2 life potions on when the enemy's buffed, which allows for a lot more experience from that fight. Basically what happens is it revives the enemy for basically a second to say that, oh, it came back to battle, but it's actually dead again, which gives experience for that again, which when you do that twice, it means you get 3 times the experience for that one enemy than you would normally.
And I see that he picked up that edge from the Lunar Dais and just slingshotted him, so that double experience brought him all the way up to level 49. That's a pretty big advantage for Eisen.
So with that slingshot there, if he was likely around 10 levels below the median there. I didn't see how many levels he was below, but probably 10 levels. That means he was getting 3 times 240,000, the 720,000 experience for that edge. Very nice.
Yeah, and while Eisen is going grinding, Inven's catching up. He's going into Cave Magnus. Is going to be getting his Legend Sword very shortly. Meanwhile, Peasants is going. He's had some trouble on the moon. He took some wipes to Plague, it looks like, and he's now going in fighting Ogopogo in his vanilla location. Gonna have lots of fun with this jerk, but he's making progress in the moon, but not as quickly as he needs to, as Eisen is getting ready to go into Zeromus, and Invenerable is... He's getting close. Inven's not going to go and have any delay. He's got the pass. He's going to be ready to go straight in.
Yeah, he is going to go real fast here. The fact that he has the pass, he's going to already be on the Earth. He's just going to turn around and forge that crystal and go. He's actually a lot closer to Eisen than I think we may have thought he was going to be at this point.
Indeed, and he pulled off a very nice swag death strat on the first Dark Elf with that full party stone going off. This is Invenerable. I thought he was going to go and be out for the count for first place, but he might still be in it, though. Eizantayama is making his dive. He's getting ready. He's going down to Zeromus. And with Eisen going to Zeromus, do we have a question that we like to ask?
Do you like to ask, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Indeed, because while we don't go and bring Zeromus into the full boss pool, as he's a bit too much to just take in. He's a very special boss. He has a lot of special scripting, and he's just really mean. So we leave him right where he is all night, but we do like to give him a little bit of a makeover. So, chat, get your Z flags out as we try and find out whose butt we're kicking now, as Eisen's about to show us.
Indeed, we're getting a little bit more music here, too.
I'm curious as to what strategies Eisen is going to use on Zeromus, since he's got double Fu and that very high level edge and an anchor Porum, or Palum, excuse me.
Looking like some possible hybrid strats. Edge going to be doing a lot of work here with his arsenal of weapons that he has, as well as that relative agility one going on. Inven is fun, obviously fun, and as he knows at this point, he's getting a legend sword from there. He knew all along that's what it was going to be. And now he's, like we said, not going to be far behind Eisen here getting into this fight.
Yeah, and he might be in a better position to go and just do full reflex strats, because he's got that Tela, he's got a Fisoya. He probably has the levels for all of his spells as well. He also parked his airship at Baron. Small fact, if you go and get the Darkness Crystal, a black chocobo spawns in this barren forest, and you can park your airship closer to that way underground. But we see Eisen in the fight, and we are revealed to be fighting Kujamis from Final Fantasy IX.
Very nice.
Yeah, he's getting ready. He's throwing out some nukes. He's reflecting his nukes. He's kind of looks like he's going to do hybrid from what I can tell.
Yeah, which is somewhat to be expected here. He does have all those charm rods that he found, so his Foos is actually doing some decent work there. That first nuke on it for 7,000, which not the highest roll if it was on Palom, but for Foo, that's a pretty great roll. So he's seeing some pretty good damage. Another 7,000 damage nuke there, so
that's definitely respectable damage. That's nothing. Ooh, Edge hitting for almost 5,000 damage. That's better than I was expecting from Edge, to be honest.
Yeah, Eisen is going to be through this fight very quickly. But as we mentioned, it's been hot on his heels here because he is going to have that pass. He's going through Zot. He's going to be very fast to be behind Eisen.
Yeah, and he is in a very good position to do reflex strats, which cuts off 60,000 health, I think, for I guess 40,000 health, because the Zeromus, as we said, is a special boss. He wants to have over 100,000 HP, but you can't have over 100,000 HP in these on the SNES. You only get up to around 61,000. So what they do is after you do 45,000 damage to Zeromus, he'll try and go, and Zeromus will counterattack and refill his health. Also, I missed what spell was cast, but I'm very curious at this moment because it had no effect. Warp. So, okay, that Warp is one of the spells I never cast in combat, and I never really know you can, and if you reflect it, that happens. It's the first time I've seen it.
I've accidentally cast in combat more than I'd like to say. That and exit. Because when you cast exit, it you don't get to select anyone, obviously. So just try it. There's no in between. If you accidentally click it, it's over. That's happened to me more than I'd like to admit. But as we mentioned, we are seeing a bit of a hybrid strat here. He is even tossing out some whites with Rosa, so really throwing out the damage.
Eizant does not want to leave any damage on the table, it seems, but throwing out a Cure 4 here to go and heal the team and get ready for that big bang that's going to be coming out. I think he might have gone and moved some spells around on one Twistoya, but didn't move them around on the other, and is having a slight bit of muscle memory tricking him. Yes, he's got Cure 4, he's got Sight in his first slot. That would be Warp in the first slot of his Black Magic. That makes a lot of sense as to why those miscasts are happening.
Yeah, and honestly, I totally understand. As we mentioned earlier, these are top runners, and even though they're all top runners, they know they're against top runners. So when you're in this Zeromus fight, you know at any minute someone else could finish here. So some nerves are easy to have at this point.
Yeah, it's I've played against almost all of these runners except for Dobby. These runners are terrifying. I never want to play them if I have to. I don't have to beat them in a race.
Yeah, Eizant's making a good time for this fight. We do see Invenerable is in the fight now as well, so he's doing a bit of work here. He's going to bluff up his Palom, get a bit more magic power on him there. Interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what he's got his edge zerked as well, so he might be going and doing some reflex strats himself, or some hybrid strats himself as well. Big Bang comes out for Eizant, takes out the top Fu. Rosa survives, gets a Cure 4 off, so we're still in safe shape. But the next top Fu has a wall up and is going to just be tossing nukes, not really planning on surviving, it seems.
Yeah, it looks like Eizant just trying to push out the damage here. Understandable, he's probably pretty close to media phase. Feeling pretty good, I would imagine, at this point. So we do see a black hole come out, which means that he's not quite there yet, and that Zerk will go off of our edge as well as the wall on our Fusoya.
Yeah, that's normally something you're supposed to see after the second Big Bang that Zeromus does, but when you trigger that HP refill script, you also reset Zeromus' position in his battle script, so it takes some time, but he's in medio phase. We're going to see rocks. This is going to be close. Fusoya goes down, but Edge is still up. We're probably going to just see Edge carry it home.
Absolutely, he's going to use a pocket there, starting the damage as soon as he can. Probably just going to throw some nukes straight to the face here of Zeromus. I might not elect for that. That is a little bit more of a, I wouldn't say sketchy strat, but could bite him a little bit. So he's going to play this a little safer.
Yeah, he's still countering nukes if you go and cast a spell on him directly, and Fusoya goes down again. It's just Edge. Edge is not in the best health. You might want to throw some healing out with Rosa, get Edge in a safer position, and let Edge try and carry this home.
He is just about one hit away here. With that Cure 4, pretty sealed that he is good to go at this point.
Yeah, meanwhile, we see Inven going in, hitting away at Zeromus, going and throwing his, but there's the flash on eizantayama. He is in first place from the official SRL time of 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 29 seconds. GG eizantayama.
GG Eizant. Very well played. Good clean fight.
We'll see if we can go and get him in here for an interview shortly. Meanwhile, Invenerable is in his fight still, and Peasant's going to this dragon that he knows leads the way to his legend sword. Or technically doesn't know because he didn't go and kill Golbez. He reset out of that fight and decided to come back here.
Yeah, very fair. And now we do see Meteor on the Inven stream, so he's going to be pretty close behind here.
That's definitely, he full cleared the entire moon and is minutes behind eizantayama, who skipped all of it. That's quite the feat.
And we do see Zeromus go down on Invenerable stream. And he has finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 35 seconds. GG Inven.
And while Inven is finished, we're joined by eizantayama, the first place finisher. GG Eisen, how do you feel?
Pretty bad for leaving my battle speed on 4 for Zeromus.
Oh, yes, that, ooh.
Yeah, I realized it halfway through and I was like, yeah, just keep on going.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, at that point, if you're committed, you just go with it for sure. With all those cutscenes and stuff. Didn't matter for you though, still got the first place. How did you feel going through that scene? It was quite a bit of a ride for some of the runners here.
Everything was on Earth except Sand Ruby and Pass. I did everything. It's kind of weird when darkness is your go mode.
Yeah, that was a pretty, that was a very strange, it seemed like it was going to be a mostly empty Earth when you had 3 key items going underground, and then you found everything on Earth. How were you feeling when you got to the underground with only 3 key items?
I was hoping, either darkness showed up early, but that was pretty much it. Because I figured it was all on the moon or it was all underground. Most of it turned out to be underground.
Yeah, that underground, you took on that Mist Dragon as soon as you saw them after you cleared Tower and Dwarf Castle. What were your thoughts going into that fight?
I just didn't want to come back. I knew with Palom and Edge, as long as I could get the illusions, blinks going, I could pretty much take them out. It wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be.
That's entirely fair. And that, I know from experience, that fight can be pretty long there, but you took care of it pretty well, all things considered. And following up on your Earth chains before going, and you didn't have a choice because you didn't find Darkness Crystal. I imagine, were you expecting to see Legend Sword when you finished Twin Harp, or were you hoping for a Darkness Crystal?
I was kind of 50-50 after I finished Baron. I was like, where do I go to Sealed Cave or Twin Harp? And I was like, well, if someone had Darkness already from Sealed, I figured Moon might have been cleared already. So I was like, well, I'll just go take a chance with the Twin Harp, and I just went there.
And you were correct. Inven did go and reach the moon before you, but that Legend Sword being in Twin Harp really went and gave you a big boost. Inven did full clear the moon before coming back and finishing up Zot and Twin Harp.
Yeah, well, at least he didn't have much to go after clearing the moon.
Yeah, when he came back, that was his literal only choice. So he knew as soon as he finished the last spot there. So that was a pretty interesting race to watch. Since you got through Zeromus faster, obviously. But the route paid off for you there, which made a lot of sense. And GG on that one. Really well played.
Thanks.
Yes,
and we're joined by Inven as well. Sorry, Inven, GG's on the race.
Moon's haunted.
Stop going moon. You make it empty.
I just want one seed where there's something on the moon, but if not, I'll take being roughly a minute behind first place with a full clear of the seed. Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, we were just saying you full clear that one. Eisen didn't really touch the moon. I don't think he did any spots on the moon, Eisen. So that was pretty well played by you, and then really well played by Eisen as well. Both of you just showing off a lot of strats on that one.
I do want to. I am wondering, can SMAPD actually randomize the moon one of these days? Though we did have both Vanilla Plague and Vanilla Ogopogo that run as well. Like all these Vanilla Moon bosses. I mean, I'll carve them up, but still.
Yeah, we noticed that. We were saying the bosses are just getting lazy. You know, they're saying they don't want to relocate. They enjoy their spots on the moon.
I did start getting worried when I had no moon bosses or gold beds yet, going into sealed cave, and then what do you know? There's Wyvern.
We did have a pretty good laugh at Wyvern there. Luckily, there was multiple ways, and each of you showcased that really nicely tonight of anchoring for Wyvern there. And of course, there's curse rings in the seed as well as slow characters to help with that. But yeah, that was pretty interesting to see that there.
By the way, Invenerable, would you like to go and spoil to Eisen where those moon bosses or those other moon bosses and Golbez were?
Well, I mean, Golbez was at the Pale Dim spot, and that was the last lunar spot I checked. And I only had one Star Veil left, so I'm like, oh, great. Well, I'm not burning it here. I'm not going to go shop for more Star Veils before my Zeromus fight. And just live pushing the way. The magic attack wasn't that strong there, and I had a lot of my characters actually had lightning resistant gear, so even the lightning 3 wasn't that bad. But still, yeah, those annoying moon bosses, I found them.
Yeah, you did a great job. Also, for both of you runners here, I'm curious about this. How do you feel about a seed that literally had 2 edges and 2 Fusoyas in the required path to go and get to Zeromus?
And the second Fu came a little late for me. I'm sure Eisen really enjoyed having the second one, but for me it was, yeah, at the very end I'm like, oh cool, I'll take your rope. Thank you, goodbye.
Yeah, well, I got the first one. I was like, well, there goes Rydia. And then I got the second one. I was like, well, I didn't need to keep Tello after all. And I just turned Palom into the anchor, so. By the way, there's a third edge in the bed, too.
Yeah, there's a. I actually, we mentioned that I did give the anti commentator curse at the beginning when you guys got the Mazamune. I said there will be no edges in the seed at this point. Well, you're all welcome for all the edges that you could ever want. More edges than you'd probably want, truly, at this point.
Even as Coco Smith selling the ninja sword. So Inven, why don't you go and get that edge and give him ninja swords and do more berserker strats?
One edge is enough. I don't want to steal his thunder. He's a little bit of an egotist, and to have a second ninja around, he would just be totally smarmy about the entire situation. So no, I'm good.
That's fair. Do you guys have final thoughts for the seed?
Not really. Not much else to say other than I would love to have either Moon be worth it or to, 28 of 28. You never want to do that in a race if you can help it. But we'll see how things play out.
Well, GG to you both, and GG on the Team Golbez bringing it to the top 4.
Yeah, it looks like Peasants just had some early wipes that set him back just enough, and dobbytwostep had his internet go out and hasn't been seen in IRC, it seems. So I'm guessing he had some serious issue take him out. But again, congratulations to you both, and I'm looking forward to see you in the final race.
Hey, thank y'all for doing the commentary. Good luck Tuesday night. Looking forward to seeing you two and a couple other members of the community representing us on Speed Gaming. That'll be really great. So good luck with that, and thanks again for all y'all are doing tonight. Take care, fellas.
Thank you, you as well, and GG's on your good finish.
Later.
Yeah, GG's. So we do see Peasants in Twin Harp now, playing our music for us again.
And I will be a bit quiet for that so that we can get more of that music. Hey, and Peasant's actually showing what it is, that it's the science theme from Final Fantasy VI.
being a very good sport as well. Of course, at this point, we do know Eisen and Invenerable are the ones moving forward. So Peasants and Dobby will be eliminated. Of course, we're not too sure about Dobby's time just yet and how that will work out. But at this point, it looks like Eisen and Invenerable will be moving forward. So Peasants being a very good sport in finishing this. When you already know you're eliminated from a seed, it can be a little tough. So definitely everyone give some hype for Peasants here, continuing on through the seed and giving us some good music and our Zeromus sprite again.
Yeah, he's played well. This is a rough field. This is a scary field. This is going to be top 4 for good reason, and being in the top 8 is definitely nothing to go and sneeze at.
Absolutely. This is Peasant's relative newcomer to the community. Really showed off just how good he is in this league. So
Almost forgetting to grab his key item, which would be slightly embarrassing, but not something that has
I think
people have not done before.
Might have been playing us a little bit there, I think, at this point today. You know, a little cheeky play there. Oh no, I'm going out without my legend sword.
We also see get a peek at his levels. Level 56 edge. I think Zeromus is going to have a bad night.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get through this pretty handedly here.
To answer a question from chat, no, we have not decided the other top 2. This is the first of the 2 semifinal races. The second semifinal race will be on September 18th at 7 p.m.
Yeah, that will be between Elmagus, Nightdew, Penguinator, and Simbu. So that is an extremely stacked race. It's just going to be a total wild scene to watch. Just all incredible runners, to be honest.
Yeah, this is if you thought this race was exciting, don't worry, we have another good one coming, and whoever makes it to the final is going to put on a great show. We'll see if Peasants goes and checks that final shop inside. There's ninja swords here, and well, he does not have the standard because he did not go and kill Golbez, so he can't go and pick up yet another edge, but he might go and amuse himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I do just want to give another shout out to our runners there. We do have Invenerable, Peasants, and eizantayama and dobbytwostep all doing fantastic job for us tonight, really showcasing the seed. So definitely give them all a follow if you haven't already, because they are people to watch. Very, very good about showcasing Final Fantasy IV for Enterprise, showing off the strats that you've seen here tonight that we've explained a little bit, and just truly some fantastic folks in the community.
Yeah, and if you're sad that this tournament's winding down, with the winding down of this tournament, we're going to go back to having our community races, where every week we have 2 different races, and one on Monday, one on Friday, and we like to go and mix up the flags a lot. So if you kind of want to see something different, you'll get something different with those races. Also, if you're thinking this is fun, join the Discord. Come and start playing the game yourself. You don't have to race. There's a lot of different ways to go and play these seeds. This is just one of them. We've mentioned 80% and a whole variety of other ways to play. You can just mix and match your own flags. There's a lot to go and learn, and if you're thinking this is fun, come join us.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole lot of content to consume too. Many VODs from the previous Highway to the Zemus Zone League, as well as the World Series of Free Enterprise. If you are interested at all, be sure to check any of those out. Various channels, the Free Enterprise channel, as well as the RPG Limit Break channels, have many of the VODs from previous races. So if you're interested, definitely go for those. Join the Discord. It's a really, really great and welcoming place. A lot of people to answer questions or help you through seeds, and just share the pain on certain seeds, depending on what you like to choose your flex sets to be.
Oh yeah, and you don't have to worry about I'm not a speedrunner. A lot of these people here are not speedrunners. I am most certainly not a speedrunner. I play this game a fair bit myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had never speedrun anything prior to this game, and kind of just totally embraced the whole community and the Free Enterprise game itself, just because how fun it is and how welcoming people have been. So definitely recommend, even if it's not something that you've done before.
Oh yeah, and I do believe you also got into speedrunning a little bit after you started playing this, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I started playing around a little bit with speedrunning. Of course, limited time. Wish I could do a bit more with speedrunning. Started looking at the vanilla game of this, but for the most part, just sticking to the randomizer, racing it, because at the end of the day, it's so fun. They do so board face Rivers, Scala, doing such a fantastic job with Free Enterprise as a whole.
Yeah, this is an amazingly fun randomizer. You don't need to be in speedrunning to go and enjoy it. You don't need to go and race to enjoy it. I played for a very long time before I started even thinking of racing, so go and give it a shot if you're thinking this looks fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a little bit of hype here for Peasants ending off the seed on a high note. Like we said, it's super good sport of him to continue through. And honestly, a really fantastic time here. Just had a bit of bad luck at certain parts in the seed, so...
Yeah, it's definitely hard to go in balance. Like, I want to go fast, I want to push as hard as I can, and then sometimes going and getting stopped and losing a bit of time here and there. It's easy to go lose a little bit, like losing any ground to these runners is very easy, as I think we've seen just looking at Eisen and Invenerable going through. They lost plenty of time to each other. This is the top 8 for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. They're, like we've said a million times, these are top runners. Like, you will see in this top 8, it's just the best, really going, really giving them a really good showcase of how this game is played at the highest level. So,
yeah, normally you're trying to go and beat Zeromus, and this, you're trying to go and beat other people to beating Zeromus. Zeromus is there to be a pinata for us today. And being a pinata, he is, as Edge is just going and ripping him to pieces.
I almost feel bad for Zeromus tonight, because I don't foresee anyone wiping to him. We've been dealt a pretty good hand in terms of our runners have had teams that are just ridiculously strong. We've seen a lot of hybrid strat going on here tonight, just to the fact of so strong with the Zerking, so strong with the throwing out white spells and nuke spells. You know what? Zeromus is in a lot of pain, I believe.
Yeah, Zeromus is thinking, I am the eldritch abomination that is formed from the hatred of all the people on this planet. Why am I getting beaten so badly?
I almost feel bad for him.
I think his full amass of hate and his hatred and misery is no match for the power of our good and well-prepared runners.
No, I think they're pretty set up well to deal with this. Not often you see a seed that gives you 3 possible edges as well as 2 Fusoyas. That's a pretty interesting thing that we've seen tonight, to be honest.
Yeah, here's Meteor Phase. It's Fujimus is going to go and take his beating like the villain he deserves to take the beating as.
There's the crack boom. Peasants finishes in 3rd place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 16 seconds. Very well done, Peasants.
Indeed, that is a great time. That is a poke seeds. They take some time to get through, and then full clearing moon, almost full 28 out of 28. That is fantastic time. GG, Peasants, and congratulations on your 3rd place finish. And it looks like he's going to be joining us for an interview shortly.
Yeah, really well done. And we are joined by Peasants. Peasants, GG.
Hey, thanks.
How are you feeling after that pretty long haul of a seed? This bit of a hook receipts always obviously take a little bit more time, but routing through, pretty much doing every check in the game. How are you feeling after that one?
I'm alright. Like, I think I played really poorly early game, just wiping to like everything, Dark Imps twice, Calabrina, like just all the easy stuff I was just wiping to it early. But I think after that I kind of got a footing, but we're still at 27 out of 28 for me. I checked gold bets, but I didn't do it.
Yeah,
you want to do it.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
you exactly as you said, that happens. Wipes happen, of course. Push you a bit behind, but you caught up a decent amount there. You made some good headway. Obviously, the only thing there, of course, was the unluckiness of Legend Sword being behind that check. Invenerable doing a similar route to you, pretty well full clearing that. Eisen getting through it without touching the moon at all, so there was a
lucky boy.
Decent amount of disparity there. So you played that extremely well. So GG's for sure.
I want to blame Penguinator because Penguinator told me once after an async that the demist in Feymarch is never worth it, and then it was I was going through my mind. I was like, nope, not gonna do it, and then immediately need to do it.
It only takes one. It only takes one person to say, "Oh, never do this," and you never want to do it again. Yeah.
It was like months ago as well. Oh well.
So, how did your decision making go on that one? Did you decide to go to the moon and not finish out those things for any other reason other than Penguinator saying, "Don't ever do Demist in Feymarch"?
Well, it was the only thing I had left, and it just felt like such a silly play to me. My damage was like an RA1 edge, and then I can't Zerk in that fight there, so it just felt like garbage. I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
also, I got rid of my Palom with a ribbon on, which was one of the big reasons why I reset out of the gold beds as well. Although I did pick up a crystal ring, now I'm thinking about it. I completely forgot that I did that.
That's easy to forget when you're looking for a legend sword and you're finding a lot of things that are most distinctly not the legend sword.
Yeah, it certainly was. The moon was just full of swords and a spoon. It was like... Goddamn moon. Every time.
It is pretty unusual that moon, like, everything is on Earth. That was... How did you feel when you got underground with 3 key items and then almost everything except for the San Rubian Pass were on Earth?
Man, it's been a while since I did a Hook C where you get underground at like... I got underground like over like 50 minutes, I think, around 50 minutes, which is like when you get underground if you were versing like a Kanazo, not a Mylon. So I did not feel good going into underground. But also Tower didn't pay off as well. Everything just didn't pay off.
Yeah, we were commenting that Tower not giving me anything was highly unusual for the 2 spots, but everyone went and did Tower as soon as they went and got off.
I think because we had a Murasama, right, and then also a Mute Dagger, so like Ashura was literally a cakewalk. Like there was no way that she was going to be doing any sort of
it was a pretty clear, decent play to make. But it was tough, obviously, because just like you said, when you keep doing check after check and you're getting nothing, it's extra diminishing, obviously.
Yeah. I wish I threw more of my stuff. To be honest, I thought I was going to run into like a Cecil maybe at one point, but no. Should have thrown everything, honestly.
Yeah, the only 2 character spots that weren't checked were Package and Giant, and I mean, he had 3 edges and 2 Fusoyas in the seed. It's kind of hard to complain, I didn't get enough good characters, but the lack of Cecil was a bit, it definitely showed.
Interesting going up Zot and saying no to both Fusoya and Rosa. It's not a play I would usually make. But I mean, I was already like level 58 or whatever it was when I was going up Zot, so...
Yeah, it's not very often that you out-level Fusoya when you find him.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts on the seed and the league?
Yeah, the league was super fun. I'm really happy with the position I've finished in. I wasn't even sure I was going to get top 32 when I was going into this. So getting as far as I did, I'm actually genuinely pretty shocked and pretty happy. Just proud of myself. And I was versing some fantastic people. So I'm really just happy that I was able to put up a fight against them. It's been really fun.
Yeah, you should definitely be very happy with your performance because top 8 is nothing to sneeze at. That's a really great accomplishment. So definitely GG's on this race, and honestly the league in general. Been stellar to watch you play in this, and definitely can't wait to see what else you got in store for the next leagues.
Definitely. Thanks a bunch, guys.
Yeah, thank you, peasants.
Thank you,
Have a good-
and congratulations on as well as you've done in this league.
Thank you. Talk to you guys later.
See you, peasants.
Later. And that brings us to the end of our match. We have eizantayama and Invenerable, both from Team Golbez, going into the finals. That sounds pretty exciting to me, Dusty.
Yeah, that's honestly whatever to come out of the next match. That is going to be such an incredibly hype finals. So that next match is going to be on September 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely look out for that to see where that's going to be hosted. Going to be just about as hype of a match as it can be. And GG's to our runners tonight, for sure here. Give them all a follow. They're well worth, as I mentioned earlier, following. They are all fantastic runners. dobbytwostep, eizantayama, invenerable, peasants OMFG, as well as our restream team. We have SmapeD doing an amazing job restreaming for us. Paranoia doing an amazing job tracking for us between all that huge amount of key items that we got in the mid part section there. And Baka with me on comms as well tonight.
Indeed, make sure you give Dustygriff a follow. He's another fantastic player in this league and a fantastic player in general. So this has been a pretty good evening. Any final thoughts, Dusty?
That was about as good as I was expecting. A little bit of trolls in there and just a really good showcase of just how good our runners are tonight.
Yeah, this was a fantastic race. I'm looking forward to our next one. And with that, I believe we're going to be going and sending you off to Randomania to watch some Dragon Warrior Randomizer. Let's go and give our friends there a big shout out and give them some fun love. I believe this is going to be a pretty hype match against Neskar and Jay Coper. So let's say hellos.
Yeah, thank you all, and hope you have a fantastic night.
Have a nice evening.